welcome to the deep dive. Today we're venturing into, well, a pretty thought-provoking way of looking at where our emotions might be headed, especially with, how digital everything's become.
hmm
We're diving into something called the Four Futures Framework. It's an idea from Diedrich Byrne's Digital EQ Reimagined, specifically Part 3.
Right. And we've sort of touched on this before, haven't we? This whole concept of digital emotional intelligence.
Exactly.
How those classic EQ skills, the ones we're used to, need this serious update for life online. It's just different trying to read the room when the room is a comment section.
Absolutely. And Burns really makes the point that the emotional intelligence we've traditionally talked about, it just wasn't designed for this constant screen time, this digital saturation.
Yeah.
Plus, actually getting the training or resources for even the traditional skills can be, well, tricky for a lot of people.
That's true. Which led us to unpack digital EQ itself in previous discussions, those, what were they, 5 core areas?
Yeah, like digital self-awareness, knowing how you show up online,
Yeah.
then managing algorithmic influence, setting emotional boundaries, spotting manipulation online, and regulating your own digital responses.
Right. That groundwork is pretty crucial for what we're tackling today because if we get what digital EQ is supposed to do, the big question becomes, okay, so what happens next?
Exactly. What are the paths forward? What could our emotional lives actually look like, depending on whether we embrace these skills or just let things drift?
And that's where Byrne's framework comes in. He lays out these 4 potential futures: emotional dystopia, emotional rebellion, emotional singularity, and emotional renaissance.
And the kicker is he doesn't frame these as like sci-fi fantasies way off in the distance.
No, not at all. He suggests we could be seeing the beginnings of these maybe playing out by, 2030? Which is really not far off.
It gives it a real sense of urgency. Burns uses this really striking phrase. He says, the war for your emotional sovereignty has already begun.
And it's not like a conventional war, is it? It's quiet. It's happening while our emotional data gets collected.
Yeah, things like the tone in our texts, how long our cursor hovers over an ad, our facial expressions on calls, heart rate from our watches.
Biometric signals, behavior patterns online, all scooped up and, monetize.
And it's already happening. He gives these examples like AI cameras in China tracking kids' attention spans by their faces.
Or companies using affect computing. That's the tech that reads emotions in hiring decisions. Promotions, even.
It really shows how our emotional autonomy can just sort of fade away without us actively clicking yes to it. Because, let's be real, who reads the full privacy policy?
Nobody. Exactly. So, okay, with that context, let's get into these futures, starting with the probably the most alarming one, emotional dystopia.
Okay, emotional dystopia. Burns paints this picture of waking up and your phone basically runs your day, but like on an emotional level.
Right. Not just alarms and calendars.
No, your watch syncs your heart rate to your work schedule, so maybe your boss gets a heads up if you're stressed before you even, start work.
Wow. And your social feeds, they're not just random anymore. They're hyper curated to make you feel specific things.
Yeah, like rage or envy or this constant pressure, this urgency. The algorithms get really good at pushing our buttons.
And emotional privacy. Just gone. He talks about messages being auto-analyzed for tone.
Work emails getting flagged by AI if you sound, I don't know, off.
Insurance companies may be using AI to look at your microexpressions during telehealth calls.
Or schools tracking kids' attention with facial recognition, maybe sending alerts home. It's pervasive.
And in this dystopia, there's this real lack of agency. Trying to disconnect isn't just opting out. It's seen as a problem.
He says disconnection means disobedience, and disobedience means exclusion.
Oof. And there are no real legal shields for this emotional data. No easy off switch.
It sounds incredibly bleak. Burns sums it perfectly. Emotional dystopia is what happens when we choose convenience over consent. When we ignore the warnings, click accept, and keep scrolling.
A really stark warning about just sleepwalking into it.
Definitely.
Okay, so after that, rather chilling vision, Burns offers a counterpoint. Emotional rebellion.
Right, the pushback. This is where people basically wake up and say, hang on a minute.
Exactly. They start resisting this erosion of their, emotional sovereignty.
And what triggers it? Burns gives examples like maybe just information overload from trauma reels online, or feeling forced to perform happiness on work calls all the time.
Or something really direct, like your insurance costs jumping because an AI flagged you as emotionally volatile.
Yeah, you can see that happening.
And the rebellion itself, it looks like different things. Individuals logging off, silencing everything, deleting tracker apps.
Turning off webcams exams, maybe?
Yeah, refusing those AI emotional assessments at work, parents protesting data collection in schools.
He even brings up artists trying to, like, watermark their feelings online to signal this isn't data for you.
Which is fascinating. And also, the rise of alternative platforms, maybe decentralized, ad-free, built on consent, like digital co-ops setting their own rules.
It's not just about fighting the tech, though, is it? It's also personal. Reclaiming your own feelings.
Totally. Burns says, no more performing, no more curating your grief or filtering your joy. It's messy, raw, and real. Rejecting that pressure for a perfect online emotional front.
There's that great quote, too. You can have my clicks, but you can't have my core. It's the fire that burns after the numbness.
Powerful stuff. And interestingly, Burns actually thinks this rebellion is the most likely future.
Really? Why is that?
His reasoning is basically human nature. We tend to react after things break, not always proactively fix them. So we wait for the dystopia to get bad enough, then demand change.
Makes sense, unfortunately.
He figures we'll see stronger laws eventually, like the EU's AI Act, but, beefed up for emotional data specifically.
But he does say it's a tough fight, right? Because the tech is so embedded now.
Oh, absolutely. It's woven into jobs, healthcare, friendships. It's not just deleting one app. It's a deeper shift.
Okay, so that's rebellion. What's the next one? Emotional singularity.
Yeah.
This one sounds different, almost appealing at first glance.
It does, doesn't it? It's this idea of a complete merger with emotion AI, where the tech just seamlessly handles everything for us, anticipates our needs before we even know them.
So like your digital assistant knows your mood from your biometrics the second you wake up.
Pretty much. Analyzes your sleep, heart rate variability, maybe the tone you use, dismissing your alarm. It knows how you feel.
And what?
While the fridge suggests mood-boosting meals, the playlist adjusts to your stress levels, your therapist might be an AI with your complete emotional history.
Wow. Even social stuff.
Yeah, Burns imagines emotion-modulating filters to prevent arguments, AI mediators for disagreements.
So basically smoothing out all the rough emotional edges of life.
Right. In the workplace, think constant monitoring of engagement, AI enhancing communication, almost zero friction. As Burns puts it, no mess, no noise, no misunderstandings.
Okay, I can see the appeal. But what's the catch?
The hidden costs. We lose the value of working through difficult feelings. We might suppress natural things like crying because the tech steps in. Privacy is obviously gone.
Our inner life becomes infrastructure.
That's a great way to put it. Our emotions get outsourced. Burns calls it peace. But it's purchased. It's harmony, but hollowed.
That phrase, purchased peace, really hits home.
And the really tricky part is it feels good at first, like relief, like help. But slowly, you lose that connection to your own feelings, your own choices. The AI just tells you how you feel.
Insidious. Okay, so dystopia, rebellion, singularity. What's the fourth one? The hopeful one.
Emotional renaissance. This is the future where emotional data is treated with respect, like an extension of you, protected by consent and transparency.
So waking up not to a phone demanding attention, but maybe to...
Quiet. Reclaiming your own headspace. Exactly. Emotions aren't performative. They're just yours. Consent is the baseline for any emotion tech. Transparency is standard. You know who sees your feelings and why, and you have control.
And society shifts, too.
Yeah, he envisions emotional sovereignty being taught in schools, workplaces genuinely caring about well-being, not just gamifying it for productivity, mental health as a right, not a luxury.
And technology's role.
It's supportive, not steering. We use it intentionally with boundaries. He talks about artists creating from raw emotion, communities building tools based on care, maybe even encoding empathy into systems.
That sounds incredibly different.
It is. Burns sums it up. Emotional renaissance. It's a future where we remember that being human is messy, beautiful, and worth preserving. And importantly, he notes this doesn't have to come after rebellion. We could choose it.
So these four futures, dystopia, rebellion, singularity, renaissance, they're all possibilities stemming from how we handle digital life and emotions right now.
And like Burns stresses, none are guaranteed. Our choices right now are shaping which path we go down.
Which brings us back to that really challenging question he asks listeners, doesn't it?
Yeah, which future are you preparing for? Not intentionally, but unconsciously. Which one are your habits feeding?
And which one are you willing to interrupt for the sake of something better? It really makes you think about your own scrolling, your own clicks.
And it circles right back to those digital EQ principles we started with. They're not just theory. They're the practical tools Burns suggests we need.
Right. Digital self-awareness helps us notice the manipulation.
Algorithmic influence management helps us take back control.
Emotional boundary setting protects our energy.
Manipulation detection keeps us grounded in reality.
And digital response regulation stops us from just reacting on impulse. They all work together.
It's a call to action, really. As Burns says, we don't get the emotional future we deserve. We get the one we're willing to build together.
So let's build well. Let's build wisely. Let's build emotionally sovereign. Powerful words.
Absolutely. And next time, we're going to dig into what Burns suggests it actually takes, practically speaking, to aim for that emotional renaissance. What can we do as individuals, in our communities, companies, even culturally?
Looking forward to that. So until then, try to stay emotionally sovereign, stay digitally smart, and remember, stronger emotions matter more than stronger algorithms. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.